Good evening, everyone. So I'm coming back today to show you some sample notary scenarios. Okay, so the basis of this video is to basically prepare you for different situations that you may encounter when doing your notarizations. Okay, all of these scenarios are for general notary purposes. The information being shared in this presentation are not my own. They are from National Notary Association. I thought that these scenarios were really helpful in getting you all prepared for what you may come up against when doing general notary work, okay? So here's scenario one. Okay, we have Sarah Signer here. Sarah Signer calls your business line because she needs notary services for a power of attorney, and she asks you to notarize her signature on it. The document is complete, except for Sarah's signature is not there. It has notary wording, which is acceptable in your state. Sarah is willing and aware of what's going on. She presents her driver's license as identification for evidence of her identity, and the address on her ID is current. Now, the first thing you want to do is you want to check the document. You want to make sure the document is complete. Now, I know this picture is very blurry. It is a screenshot, so bear with me. The document is completed. The signature is not there because she will be signing in your presence. Okay. You check the certificate to see what type of certificate is attached here because it doesn't have a title. You notice acknowledgement in the notary wording, so you know that it is an acknowledgement. Okay. So because the certificate is complete and it does meet your state requirements, you can go ahead and notarize it. First thing you want to do is you want to record the information into your journal. Okay. Now, the address where the notarization is being performed is a address where your office will be. Okay, so this is not for mobile. But if you are a mobile notary and you do not have an office that you will have signers meet you at, then your address that you will put here for where notarization is performed will be wherever you are. Okay. You're going to also be recording the signer's address. And it's not just going to be the address from their ID. You want to make sure you ask them if that ID has the current address. In the wording of the scenario at the top, it did say that the address listed on her identification was current and correct, so you can go ahead and record that. You have a power of attorney, and the document date is going to be May, and let's just say today's date 14, 2021. You put it as an acknowledgement, you put the date and time, you record the identification information for the signer, and you don't really need to put this, but they have it here that the signer was willing and aware of the signing. Put your notary fee that is given by your state, have them sign and collect the fingerprint if that is allowed in your state. After you have filled out your journal entry, then you're going to fill out the notarial certificate that's on the form. And here it is blown up. It's going to be whatever state you are in, whatever county you are in at the time that you are notarizing the document. Okay. So it's not the county that you are commissioned in. It's not the county that the person lives in, unless you are at their address. It is the county of the location where you are at the time of the notarization. Okay. You're going to put on this, you're going to put the day, the number of the day, the month, the year will be 2021. Before me is going to be your printed name, the notary. Personally appeared, the signer. So you put the signer's name there. You want to always make sure that you indicate which verb is appropriate for the person, whether it's one person, two persons, three persons, okay? And then you're going to sign and apply your seal, okay? So that's scenario one. Let's go to scenario two. Here, it says Jane Public calls your business line for notary services for an insurance affidavit for items that were stolen from her home. The document is complete, except for Jane's signature is dated today and has certificate wording acceptable in your state. Jane is clearly signing willingly and is aware of what's going on. She has her driver's license to prove her identity, and the address listed on her driver's license is her current address. Okay? First thing you want to do is examine the document. I'm going to check it. Make sure that it all is complete. Make sure it's filled out here. Only thing missing is the signature and the date, which is okay. And you want to check to see what type of certificate this is because it does not have a title. We would know that it is a jurat. Why? Because it says subscribe and sworn to. Okay, that's your clue, guys, to let you know that this is a jurat and you are going to be administering an oath and you're going to be witnessing her sign this document in your presence. Okay. Now that you've checked the document, you want to go ahead and fill out your journal. Okay, it's going to be a separate entry from the person above. Okay, today's date and time. What type of notarization is it? It's a jurat. The address is going to be the address of your office because that's where you are at the time of notarizing. What is the title of the document? Well, you're going to be notarizing a Florida insurance affidavit, and the date of the document is today's date, or whatever date you see listed on that document. And her address is correct, so this is the signer's address. Her ID information. She is willing and aware. Remember, this is just optional, guys. You don't have to put that, but what you could have put was maybe that, you know, any type of information that you can put that you thought was different or in particular to this notarization, okay? Your notary fee that is given by your state. You're not going to put here that you your notary fee and other fees you charge her. You only want to put here what the notary fee is, and that notary fee is whatever is allowed in your state. Now, when you record this in your accounting, of course, you're going to put the notary fee and the travel fee and whatever other fees, but in your journal, just the notary fee. Have the person sign and collect the fingerprint if it's allowed. Now we're going to fill out the certificate. I have it blown up here. The state where you are and commissioned, the county where you are at the time. In this case, it's going to be the county of wherever your office is located because that is where you guys are. You're going to have her raise her right hand and you're going to have her recite that she affirms to or swears to an oath. Okay. And then you're going to fill out the certificate afterwards. Okay. The date goes here by the signer. You're going to sign here and seal. All right, scenario 3. Claudia Pastorelli and Fred Fiance have a prenuptial agreement they both need to sign. The document is dated May 14, 2019, or I'm sorry, 2021. Let's just say it's today's date. It has pre-printed certificate wording that is acceptable in your state. Both of them have acceptable ID documents, but Claudia's address is here, okay? Because on the passport here, it's not going to have, it doesn't have the current address, okay? So this is her current address. Here is Fred's driver's license, and this is Claudia's passport, okay? Both of those are acceptable forms of identification. Now what you want to do first, always check the document. Make sure this document is completely filled out where it needs to be filled out. There are no signatures. That's fine. They can sign in your presence. And then you want to check to see what type of certificate this is attached to this document. Looking it over, it looks to be an acknowledgement. Okay, it does say acknowledged in the certificate wording, so you would assume it's an acknowledgement. Okay, you're going to fill out your journal entries here. I'm not going to read this because you guys can see what it is. We've went over the first two, so I think you get a pretty good idea of what it is you're supposed to be putting in your notary journal, okay? Address where notarization was performed, will most likely be different than the person's address unless you are at their home. You're going to fill out their identification information here. Your notary fee, have them sign, fingerprint if allowed. Now let's go to the certificate. It's going to be the state where you are commissioned, the county of your office, or wherever you are at the time that you're notarizing. In this case, like I said, we're at our office. This document was acknowledged before me on this, and you put in the date, by both parties, Claudia and Fred. Okay? You're going to sign, you're going to apply your seal. All right, scenario 4. Jelani Sample calls you and asks you to notarize his letter of consent so his daughter can travel to Canada. Jelani is clearly signing the document willingly, and he is aware of what's going on. For ID, he presents his driver's license that contains his current address. Jelani says that he was told to sign the document in front of you and to swear to its truthfulness. So we automatically know that it is going to be a jurat certificate that we will be notarizing, guys. Just from him saying that. We're going to check the document over. Okay. Make sure it's completely filled in, which it is. There are no blanks except for the signature portion because it's a jurat. He should be signing in your presence. All right. Now, because this document does not have a certificate, you will be attaching a loose certificate, okay? You can't just sign where it says signature of notary, printed name, and notary seal. That is an incomplete certificate and you cannot notarize that, okay? But you can attach a loose certificate, and because he's already told us what is required for his document, we automatically know we're attaching a jurat. Remember, you are never supposed to choose for the signer. The signer has to choose for themselves. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and fill out the journal entry here. Okay. And if you notice here in additional information, you attached a separate certificate. That is a significant occurrence that happened during your notarization. So that is something that you do want to list, okay? The address where notarization was performed, and then the signer's address. The type of document, today's date and time that it was done, his identification information, his signature, and a thumbprint. Here we attach the loose certificate. You're going to fill it out here. Subscribe and so on. So you're going to have him say an oath. Then you're going to fill this out. Okay. Now I know you're saying, well, what do we put on this document? Well, what you're going to do is you're going to draw a line through this. You're going to initial it, and you're just going to write or stamp "See attached certificate." Okay. Next scenario. Now, Karen Sample requests notarization of a grant deed for a property owned by her and her sister. You notice the document is dated, I'll just say for today's date, is complete except for 2 blank signature lines, one for Karen and one for her sister, Sharon K. Sample, who is not present. Now, this is a good one. The certificate is acceptable in your state, but you notice that the certificate says personally appeared Karen Sample and Sharon K. Sample. Karen presents her driver's license and clearly is willing and aware of what's going on, okay? Now here, as you can see, the document is filled, but it does not have any signatures, of course. You're going to check to see what type of certificate this is, and you do that by looking at the wording. And you can't see it here, it's kind of blurry, but you see that it is an acknowledgement, okay? Now, remember, this document is for 2 people, but you cannot notarize a person's signature without them being there. So we will only be performing this notarization for Karen sample, okay? You're going to complete your journal entry. You're going to make sure you put in the notes, you only notarize Karen's signature. Her sister was not there. Okay. And then when you're filling out the certificate, what are you doing? You're crossing out, you're striking a line through Sharon's name because you're not going to be notarizing for her. Now, when Sharon does get her signature notarized, the notary is going to have to attach a separate certificate with just Sharon's information, okay, to state that they did not witness the signature of Karen, but they witnessed the signature of Sharon, okay? So that's how that goes with that. Your state that you're commissioned in, the county wherever you are at the time of notarization, not where you're commissioned, wherever you are at the time that you are notarizing, okay? On date before me, which would be you, the notary public, and appear at Karen's sample and strike that line through Sharon, and make sure you cross a line through any verbs that do not apply, okay? And then you're going to sign and apply your seal. All right, next scenario. We are almost through, but I hope that you guys are getting some good information with what I'm sharing. Parker sample brings a durable power of attorney to you for notarization. Everything is in order. The document's dated a few days ago, has certificate wording that is acceptable in your state. He's willing and aware his driver's license is correct, but you didn't notice the venue on the certificate says Idaho, okay? Well, I'm sorry, you did notice that it does say Idaho. This is a typo, I'm sorry. That's where Parker had his power of attorney. That's what POA stands for, power of attorney, was drafted. But you're not in Idaho, right? So let's see what we got to do. Okay, we're going to check his document here. Make sure everything is completely filled in, which it is. The signature is missing, but that's okay. You're going to witness him sign. You're going to check the notarial wording in the certificate that is here, and you see that it is an acknowledgement, okay? Also, check the venue. You see it says state of Idaho. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to strike a line through Idaho and correct that and put the state that you are commissioned in, because you're not commissioned in Idaho. You're commissioned in, let's say, Michigan. Okay, so you will put Michigan. But let's go ahead and fill out our journal entry here. Okay. The date of the document is a few days ago. Remember, it's not going to be today's date. It's going to be whatever date is on that document. Okay. It's not the date that it was signed, it's the date of that document. So you put the few days ago date. His address was current and accurate. You're going to put the address, identification information, your notary fee, have them sign, and collect the thumbprint. Now, because we're having to correct this certificate state, you're going to strike a line through, put your initials, and then at the top here, you're going to put the correct state. Okay, and then county of, you're going to put the county where you are doing the notarization at the time. Okay. On this day of month, and then the year, the principal, which is the signer, personally appeared before you and acknowledged, and you're going to make sure you strike a line through whichever verb that does not apply. And then you're going to sign and apply your seal. I really like these scenarios for you guys because it really gives you a realistic idea of what you're going to be coming up against, and it gives you the different occurrences that you will encounter. All right, here we go. Scenario 7. You visit Janice sample in the hospital. She needs an affiant statement notarized, but she has 2 broken wrists and she cannot write. She is willing to make a mark to replace her signature. You ask 2 people next to you to be witnesses of her mark. Janice shows you her valid ID, and the certificate wording on the document is acceptable in your state. Janice is fully aware of what's happening, okay? Now, you're going to look at the certificate here. It is filled out. Janice signed by Mark, okay? And then you're going to write here in parentheses, Mark of Janice sample, today's date. And we have 2 random witnesses that also signed their names, okay? Now you're going to check the certificate because you want to make sure that you record the correct notarization in your journal. You see subscribed and affirmed to, which means this is a jurat. You're going to administer an oath and you're going to witness that signature, which you already did up here. Okay. Let's go ahead and fill out our journal entry. You always want to fill out the journal before you fill out your notary certificates, guys. Okay. She signs with the mark again. You're going to make sure you write somewhere nearby that X, that is the Mark of Janice sample. And you're going to put on here, the reason why she signed by Mark. She had 2 broken wrists and she had 2 witnesses. And you want to make sure that they're impartial. Make sure they don't have any beneficial or financial interest to the document being signed. Now, because she had witnesses, you're also going to be making a journal entry for the witnesses, okay? This is how you would do that. Okay. We have the identification and name of that person. And in your notes, you're going to have to just put the second person. If your journal doesn't have, the correct information, not correct information, if it doesn't have a slot for witnesses, I'm sorry, then this is what you would do, okay? And the signature of signer, Brock Montgomery, okay? Sorry, guys. Okay. All right. Now, this name is different from our person in a thing. I think it's because this is just an example. So we would have on here, obviously, the signature of both of these people here that witnessed it, okay? Then you're going to fill out the certificate, state where you are commissioned, county, wherever the hospital is, because you're not in your office and you're not at her home, you're at the hospital. So the county is going to be wherever the hospital is located. Okay, she took an oath, subscribed and sworn to, going to fill out your date, the month, the year. Her name goes here. And as you can see, signer is attached to this line. So that's how you would know. And if you didn't, if it didn't have it right there, you would still know that her name will go there. You're going to sign and attach your seal. All right, we're at the last scenario, guys. I hope this is helpful. Connor sample brings you a document in a language you do not understand. This is a good one too. The certificate is also in a language you do not understand. Connor is willing to sign and he is aware of what's going on. He presents his valid identification, which is satisfactory evidence. And you have access to acceptable certificates from your state, okay? Now, most importantly, this document is not filled out, okay? And furthermore, it's not in a language that you understand anyway, nor is the certificate, okay? So what's gonna happen is, because you do have loose certificates and the person is able to, you can understand him, you have to ask him to choose which type of notarization he wants for his document, okay? So he's going to fill out the document and you're going to attach a notary certificate that is in a language that you understand, okay? Which will most likely be English, okay? You're going to do the journal entry here. Okay, the date of the document, not the date of signing. If it's a different date, then you put the date of the document. Connor's address was correct. He chose that he wanted to do an acknowledgement. Okay, you're going to put in your notes here that the certificate and everything was in foreign language and that he chose to do an English acknowledgement. Fill out his information, your notary fee, collect his signature, and a thumbprint. You're going to strike a line through the certificate that you cannot use, and you're going to put see attached certificate. Now, if he had chosen a jurat, this is how the jurat would look, but he chose an acknowledgement. So we're going to fill out an acknowledgement. It's going to be the state where you're commissioned, the county where you guys are currently at doing the notarization. Going to put the date. Before me would be you, the notary. Personally appeared, the signer. Going to make sure you choose the correct verb. Was, were, person, persons, who, he, she, they, who is he? Strike a line through the ones that don't apply. Sign and apply your seal. All right, and that is it, guys. We are at the end. I truly hope that this was helpful for you. Remember, the information contained in this presentation were not of my own. They were those of National Notary Association. I do not own the rights to this material at all. I am only sharing this information with you to help you in performing notarizations on your own. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked the video, give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. I can't talk. Subscribe so that you can be notified of my future videos that I will be posting. And you have a good night, and I'll talk to you soon. Goodbye.